probably half an hour. But I was wondering, I saw some spots with a buffered bike lane. I'm just wondering, if you already have the buffer there, why can't we just also put some posts or some sort of vertical separation on top of the buffer?
David, are you able to?
Yes, yeah, I am. So basically we have some thresholds for that. It also determines, if we're keeping parking, we can't put the posts up because then cars would have to negotiate around the bollards. But we also do have speed and volume thresholds for when we would add those bollards. So that's basically what kind of determines that guideline. But you can't block in parking with bollards if you're in areas where you're maintaining parking.
Are those speed and volume thresholds the speed and volume of the cars, the speed and volume of the cyclists, or the speed and volume of something else?
Speed and volume of cars.
Okay.
And if I could add to that conversation, I think the one downside I see with the physical barriers is in the winter. I mean, on Buchtel, we get a lot of snow and ice buildup. And if we're going to encourage year-round biking, which I do, you are in snow and ice anyway, even though they're, on Buchtel, for example, where it's striped with the shading and everything, I'm riding part of the time in the traffic lane because of the buildup of snow and ice. And if there is some protection there with posts or with curbing, how will that ever get plowed or maintained? So that's just something to think about, one of those extra things that does happen. And then another thing that I didn't hear in the conversation is, related to DU. I mean, this is a college campus that, is bisected by numerous high volume roadways. It's just historically the way it's been built and designed. But to have a campus that has through traffic like that is just unbelievable when we encourage biking, walking, student activity, all the people that walk to the facilities at DU for sporting events, and also the light rail station. It's just really inappropriate to have such a through lane, through traffic, through a college campus. And so this just heightens, I think, the need for this kind of project.
Yep. One other, if nobody else has anything, I want to make sure everybody else has a chance to chime in. I've got a couple of kids who are going to be starting at South High in a couple of years. And I would dearly love for them to be able to commute from my neighborhood, basically Iliff and Monroe, to South on bike. And there are some options right now. I feel perfectly comfortable with the options for myself and my wife. For my kids, it's a little touch and go, especially using Buchtel. And I would love to be able to enthusiastically tell other parents in the neighborhood, hey, my kids are biking to high school. That is their freedom. That is their mobility. And I would encourage you to do the same for your kids. And right now, I cannot in good conscience encourage other parents in the neighborhood to do the same, because frankly, I just don't think it's safe enough for a middle schooler or a high school to navigate.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I appreciate that sentiment. And honestly, that's what we are trying to do. We're trying to build better bike infrastructure, not just more infrastructure for the type of people who are already riding, but by creating better routes to get people who are currently not riding, to make it safer for people who are currently not riding. So totally agree with you and appreciate the support.
Well, I hope Mark, when he drops off his kids at the high school, doesn't drive like all the other parents up and down Franklin, which has bike lanes, but they're really narrow. And those parents and kids driving to school could care less about that 3 foot, I don't know how wide it is, but it's hardly, and sometimes it's full of snow and ice or mud or whatever. And I just find myself being aggressive and getting in the way of other people, but it is definitely at school drop-off and pickup. It's really treacherous up and down Franklin. So again, to Wash Park, it's a huge destination, that connectivity issue. It's just, I know that there is striping there, but if there could be anything else done along that, maybe even with the little posts, I don't know, but that's another little segment, and was paved this year, which was great. It's really much better. But again, part of this may be a side topic here, but it's, you know, just another few blocks. And could that be, you know, part of this master plan?
Yeah, no, that's not a bike lane, that's a gutter.
Yeah, you're right, with the stripe.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, this is really great. Oh, does somebody else have something to say?
Yes, one more point. And I'm in my day job, I'm with the Denver Regional Air Quality Council. I'm the executive director, and so I'm here in my own time tonight. But you know, just to put on my work hat, this is what we do at the RAC. We encourage anything that's an alternative to driving, walking, biking, and you know, other means of getting around and commuting on rail and transit and buses, et cetera. So this is really important for our air quality and for our mobility. And if that helps in this conversation at all, the RAC has been involved in numerous funding exercises and public events with our summertime ozone programs, where we encourage people to not drive at least one day a week and get to work and get around other ways. I think this is just, you know, one more, you know, feather in the cap that helps us be successful.
Great. Thank you. We appreciate your support, Mike, and this has been a really great conversation. I've taken a lot of notes here, and we will, you know, just continue to keep you all involved. I think we've got just a few minutes left, so if there's any other final comments, I don't want anybody to get caught off as they're moving us back into the larger group, but feel free to mention anything else if anybody has any final thoughts or comments that you want to make sure we can capture.
Yeah, I'd just like to say I really appreciate anytime there's a road diet happening, and I really think that's necessary on Buchtel to remove a travel lane. And I also hope that you extend that to the rest of Buchtel in the future, because I really hate that road. And drivers kind of treat it like an extended on-ramp for the highway. And I'd love to, honestly, I don't even think that road is necessary. I think I would love to just rip up that entire road and put a nice trail, but I know that's too much for now. But I do really appreciate any of the road diets, and I'd love to see more of them.
Yes, and thank you all for what you do. You know, I know you're working late tonight, and you know, you get it, I'm sure, from both sides, but thank you so much for your efforts.
Thank you. And David has been got a busy evening ahead right now, so
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for your patience.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
And I am just
Probably
waiting for confirmation that room 1 is ready to wrap up. So like Offlore said, we don't want to cut anybody off, but once I hear that, I will bounce us all back to the main place. They're wrapping up, so we'll give it just a minute.
Great. Thank you.